Good afternoon, everybody. I'm excited to be here. I'm from Western United States, and now I'm out here in Norway, so I'm pretty excited to be sharing with you and to have been asked to share with you. Tom kind of set me up well. So my name is Mike, and I head up our BDC and BIM and just sort of general technology group at Ryan Company, the U.S. developer and commercial real estate builder. And really, my presentation is going to be tailored more to the softer side of Synchro, the how to drive adoption. It's going to be very much focused on the people and the processes that are required to drive adoption, mostly internally within your firms or your companies, or maybe clients that you consult with. So even though, again, I'm going to explain a little bit about Ryan Companies, and I think that the point in time that I'm going to start from and sort of our environment is going to help tailor the rest of the presentation and my strategies that we implemented. But essentially, it's a U.S. company. We do a lot of private land development and a lot of competitive commercial construction, all commercial, industrial, retail. But probably most important for this conversation is it's a very conservative company. They've been doing very well for a long time, and so they don't like to change. They don't like to adopt new things. They sort of wait and see for the industry to 51% of the industry to adopt something, and then we might dip our toe in the water and see what it means for us. And so 2012 is an important time, an important kind of launching point for this presentation in that we were on the cusp of this huge growth wave. We were going to, from 2012 to 2020, we're expected to go from $400 million in revenue to $2.5 billion in revenue. So we were just about to launch on this huge growth curve, doubling several times over in that 8-year period. And what the executive leadership recognized was that we are not ready to compete with the big boys. We are not innovative. We are not driving technology. We are doing nothing in BIM. So we aren't leveraging technology and processes either to augment our workforce or to take on big, complex projects. So they sort of knew that we weren't ready to step into kind of the big boy arena and compete with the big sharks. So in 2012, they created an executive initiative, a virtual design, construction, and BIM department, and I took over that role. So now I have an entire department, and I'm ready to lead with one employee, which was me. So here we go, right? And so again, as I'm kind of evaluating what am I going to do and how am I going to do this, I mean, it's a medium-sized to big-sized company, a couple thousand employees. This was going to be, anything I was going to do was going to be disruptive, a big change, so I was in for a fight. And so one interesting thing about what I observed about our company was time matters to us. Time is extremely important to us. Speed to market is the most important thing. If we can get an office building open a month faster, that's tenants moving in a month sooner, and we can start charging rent for that. If we can open that retail strip a month faster, that's more retail revenue. Things like that. So well above maybe traditional VDC processes, or maybe something that's more mature in the U.S. like 3D coordination. I identified right away how important time was. Again, we're a real estate developer, so we own the land, we own the buildings, we finance the construction. So all of that land carry and all of that financing, hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. Time is very, very important. And so again, I kind of looked at it, and we were a collection of regional offices, but we had to start operating like a national brand, right? We had to be able to take down projects all over the country. Something that we were doing in the West had to have the same execution and same success that was happening in the South or the East. And so again, in that thread of time, I started looking at our scheduling process, and this is a huge surprise, right? The scheduling process is disjointed. It happens in a vacuum. There's waste all over the place. What we were doing in my area was completely different from the other areas. And really, the scheduling success of a project that we observed was sort of dependent on the quality of the superintendent you had or the project manager. If you had the A guy, A-team guy or gal, success rates went up. If you had sort of a new person that was inexperienced, the success rates went quite down. right off the bat, I see this sort of, this opportunity. And so what I was looking for was a 4D tool. I thought 4D was going to be the best step for us. And so for two reasons. Implementing from scratch a 3D coordination platform and program, that's a big deal. You need lots of buy-in from design consultants and subcontractors and your own team, and there's lots to go on to do a successful 3D coordination effort. It was my impression. And with that premium and importance on time, I thought that 4D might be the best. That would set us on the right path, and that would start to get things going, kind of change the culture, get people warmed up and moving on to more and more and more VDC processes. So again, it's me, and I'm trying to set the world on fire. And so I needed a tool. I needed something where I can get some easy wins. It had to be fast and flexible, and I had to be able to knock off some low-hanging fruit. Easy wins, things like that. But it had to have a lot of depth after that. I needed something that would drive process, right? The previous slide showed how different everything was in all parts of the region. So I needed something to drive process, instant gratification type of first impression, as well as just something to draw information out of people. I needed information from these local teams and these field folks and planners and all these different groups in our company. I needed information out of them. I needed them to engage with me and talk to me. And so Synchro, I think it was 2012, we bought our first license of Synchro from Tom and Sue, and you'll see it really, luckily it was a good call, because it really started a spark. It turned into kind of a wildfire or a grassroots movement, where today we've got a pretty comprehensive, pretty deep dive full VDC services platform that we roll out to all projects, all sizes. And really Synchro's pretty special to me, because it was really our first step towards anything been VDC. So I'm going to kind of go through the strategies that I went through, and hopefully you can take something away from that. It might not exactly meet your business environment or your delivery methods, but I hope the high-level schemes, high-level messages, I hope mean something to you, and you can take it back to get this going in your environment, in your office with your clients. So first strategy, we're going to call it instant gratification. I'm glad Dr. Fisher isn't here, because he told us earlier not to do this. Like, this is Hollywood 4D. This is a shiny, pretty thing. Oh, he's back there watching me. This is the shiny thing, right? This is just look at that pretty thing. And so Dr. Fisher will say, don't do this. Use 4D for a specific purpose. So I think I'm not disagreeing with him. My purpose was to drive adoption and to get some things moving, because disagreeing with Dr. Fisher would be pretty foolish for me. Back in the States, he's a big deal, So I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying the purpose was to build momentum and to get some engagement. And it was for our kind of our pre-construction or our sales and business development groups. And it was simple stuff, and I'm still kind of smirk at how important this is to those folks. I started off just making infographics, just snapshots in time from Synchro with some information overlays, the key points in time and the major construction activities that were happening at those times. And that would go in that proposal, that would go in that bid. It's just a pretty picture in a boring book, right? So right off the bat, I'm making that group look good. And so we started pumping out a lot of these. It's not a big video, it's a board in a room that you speak to in an interview, or it's kind of supplemental graphics in a proposal, right? It's points in time, major activities, maybe it's a campus, you're showing phasing, simple stuff, because it's simple. But creating a 3D model is easy. What goes into design is quite complicated and quite complex, but making 3D models is a piece of cake. So it was easy for me, and also at this point in time, early business development, the schedules are simple as well. It's high-level milestone type things. It's scope-based. It's enclosure 3 months. Foundations 1 month. Superstructure 4 months, or I guess that's how we do it at this early phase, because there's not any design there's most of the time there isn't even a 3D model available. Maybe it's an architect's SketchUp model that he used for renderings or something, and so it's easy for me to just mock up. You know, I'm illustrating these scopes. It's not necessarily accurate. I don't know. I just made up these floor-to-floor heights. I made up thickness of slabs and all those things. I'm trying to illustrate our sequence. So, you know, any one of these also has a narrative to it, and then in the appendices is the detailed sketch, right? So it's supposed to be a little storytelling tool to walk that person through. And it's absolutely gets thrown away at the end. It's Hollywood 4D. But what we started to see was, so I'll say Hollywood 4D with a little bit of thought. So as a construction professional, right, it's sort of my responsibility. As I'm doing the pretty pictures, I'm sorry, let me just start this video. As I'm doing the pretty pictures, you know, I'm sort of drawing information out of that team. I'm trying to find out a little bit of the site logistics or challenge them just a little bit, just subtly, so that these actually show thought. So when they're in that interview, that owner knows we are thinking about your building, we are thinking about your site. It doesn't necessarily win the project, but we've had more cases than not where we went from second place to first place, let's say, or made us a little bit more memorable. So right, our development guys, our sales guys and gals, they just eat this up all day long. They get to buy a new car and have cool hair and nice teeth. That's what they like to do, right? So this was the point, right? I'm trying to get these guys. So at a high level, this stuff is now getting out there. It's happening internally. It's being successful, and so that's my first part. That instant gratification. So now I got them. It's like my little gateway drug. I got them. So next, though, and so what you're going to see is you're going to start to see change or feel change within your organization. You know, again, at that high-level stage, at sales and pre-construction phase, you know, it's starting. They're coming to you more. They want more. They want more. They want more. So this is how you know you're ready to strike for the next level of depth. This is where you're going to do real work. You know, all along, you know we've just been playing with toys. We're going to do some real work here now with Synchro. And so my strategy, I'm calling it get them hooked. And so my suggestion, or what worked for me, is you want to find this guy. This is the most senior, most respected, mean SOB, the guy that just hates this stuff. He's been doing it for 40 years. He doesn't need it. I'm just some nerd that I can fix his printer, like, right, eyewear. So this is the guy you want. If you can get him, everyone's going to come with him. Everyone's going to follow. He's got, you know, a legion of disciples. Executive leadership listens to him. Regional leadership listens to him. I mean, you want to identify this guy, put him in your crosshairs, and go after him. And so again, what I found to work was my message to him. When I approached him, I couldn't use you statements. I feel like this is like a marriage counseling tip. Like, don't say you. This is going to help you. This is going to find issues in your schedule. So use I statements. So I play the dumb BIM card, the dumb BIM guy all the time where I say, I need you to help me with this. I don't understand this. Can you explain this to me? So now he's educating me, he's talking to me, he's able to sort of start to spill out that vision that's in his head. He can talk to me about trade flow sequence, ask a lot of questions that you already know the answer to, but just trying to get that conversation going, and you're trying to get that guy. And so essentially your message is, Synchro's not for you, mean scary guy. Synchro is to download that vision that's in your head, and Synchro's for the rest of us dummies, right? So that's really the message. It's not for you, sir, it's for the rest of us. It's a communication platform, it's a medium. Now we can get that plan out there for the masses and for folks that maybe don't understand the detail. But again, you've got a secret plan in place where you're trying to get information out of that guy. You're trying to partner with him. You want to earn trust and respect with that guy because he's gonna really pave the way for you. And so what I started on, and even today we don't do a lot of holistic full building synchro models and studies. We do lots of little mini studies, lots of charrettes of kind of little scope packages or kind of just hot spots on the project where it's going to be the most impactful. So I'm going to show you a couple examples, but again, we do these like mini studies, and what you'll see later is it starts to line up with a lean approach, where you're looking, high level, intense studies of hotspots, and Synchro was a great tool for that. And it really helped that superintendent that I'm trying to partner with, or that schedule that I'm trying to partner with, the whole building sequence for 22 months, there's so much variable that's going to go on. That's difficult, and you're asking them to think about things so far in the future to bring you're just asking for trouble. So I started with these mini studies. So I'm going to show you two, and of course I picked two that were a little too similar, but this one on the lower left we were just looking at foundation concrete sequencing, because the concrete crew that we were using, they were going to do this with a series of crew. There was going to be an excavation crew, a foundation crew, a column crew, a wall crew, and they were all different crews. Same company, different crews coming in at different times. So honestly, it's markers on pieces of paper, and we're flipping it over here, and we're trying to optimize and iteratively come up with the best plan. I also love about Synchro is it doesn't show you a plan. It helps you iterate and optimize and consensusly, it's not a word, consensus come up with the best plan. And so again, these mini studies, sorry, I let it go too long. And then this other one too is just getting out of the ground. I put it as a header because I feel like that's an easy way to get started, because it's coming up soon on your project. You're gonna start digging first. And so these getting out of the ground studies, man, they just work, and you get engagement, and a superintendent finally can get that out of his head and try to explain it. So it's so yeah, we go through it. And what's key for these mini studies is they gotta be detailed. We model everything. We model the shoring exactly like the shop drawings show. We model the foundations, the steel, the reinforcing, whatever the heck might impact. We always model the property line to see if shoring is encroaching outside of the bounds. Maybe there's some key utilities out in the frontages. So model everything, because you want to make those mini studies as real to the end construction condition as you can. Again, I think it kind of builds that trust in the model or what that superintendent is working with. So what that led to for us, so we're doing these mini studies as a BDC team. We're doing more and more and more. And we're starting to see as a group, we're getting smarter as a group. We're seeing kind of based on product type maybe, based on structural system, where we're just sort of seeing the same issues across the region or in a region, kind of these repeat offender issues happen. So as a BDC team, we start developing our own kind of constructability checks. So we can be proactive. We can come to the team with, hey, I did these 5 studies and I've noticed this, and this. Remember I statements, can you educate me on that? What did I do wrong, even though I'm right and you're wrong? Right, so that's your approach. Sorry, I was supposed to take my but these constructability checks has really empowered our ADC group, kind of built a lot of rapport. We've got a lot of street cred now. We're a professional coordination group, these days, because we're really understanding construction. And we know how to interrogate a schedule, sort of proactively, and come to the team with issues or solutions, or hey, on this other project across the country, same shoring system, same foundations, and they have these issues, and now you're that much more valuable as a BDC team. Okay? I think? Yeah, so this is kind of strategy 3. Sorry, I'm just looking at the clock time. Strategy 3 is now you want to build a lasting relationship. You want to be operational. I call it operational because it's, you want to be every project at a time, just the way, this is what we do now. It's 4D is kind of threaded into the fabric and into the DNA of your construction processes. And I don't think you can get here without having done 1 or 2. This one, you have to build up to this point. You can't just come in guns blazing at this without the backlog or the background. Yeah, and again, it's really starting to create, your BDC team starts to become like trusted consultants, trusted experts. They're part of the team, they're peers. They're not viewed as, the weirdos that wear sweats and Star Wars t-shirts. So Yeah, you're becoming a professional coordinator. I'm wearing Star Wars pajamas under my clothes right now, but really so again, how I saw it happen at Ryan, or what it meant to us was, again, we were part of the earning planning. At Ryan companies, we're big on lean and last planner type activities. So when we got incorporated into this, that really sort of showed that we arrived and we belonged. And then our constructability reviews continue to be a service that's just used every time, or we just do it every time. So real quick though, I just want to show what 4D plus lean means to us. Sorry for the small type. I'll try to talk through it. I believe I heard that here in Norway, lean and last planner is popular. It's not a new thing. So that's good, right? There's a lot of benefits to last planner. And I'm sitting here telling you there's lots of benefits to 4D. And so it's like, if those two could just have a baby and you have something great. And so that's what we think we got. And apparently I can only think in threes because I sort of outlined it in a three-phase approach. And we talked about it earlier. I think Greg talked about it. But again, you just don't want to come in like, I've got this figured out, I'm going to save the day. You start out in phase one, or what I'm saying is phase one is, the lean event happens, sticky notes on the wall, and then you digest that into Synchro maybe the next day or later that day. And you sit down with your planner or your superintendent and sort of go through it. Is this what you meant? Is this? And you sort of work out the logic, and you sort of work out the optimization, and maybe that goes into a master scheduling program, or maybe it just lives on. It's sort of an after the event type of digestion into Synchro, but you're on your way, right? It's happening. And then sort of phase two is you've got a VDC person live in the room, and that's where we're at right now. And it's usually you want a strong VDC person in the room. So we've got our person in the room live. The event is happening all around, and they're kind of digesting. At any point in time, if any little group or subgroup wants to look at something, right, they're fast and proficient. They can throw it up on the screens, and they can show options and iterations and all these things. So this is where we are right now. And I hope to get to phase three where it's just more integrated, it's more digital, and they just love their sticky notes. And I don't know, maybe we have stock in sticky notes or something, but we're doing sticky notes on the wall for now. So we're rolling with that, but I'm eyeing kind of a digital solution or more of a direct link, which, there's some products out there and some folks having success. We're just working on it still. So again, sort of just highlights, in every picture, the nerds in the room, but they're part of the event, and they're part of the team, and they're part of that planning process, not as a technician, sort of in that consultant role where they can quickly highlight issues or past experiences or repeat offenders. We're part of the team for sure. And then the goal, right? The goal is for more detailed schedules, better logic, better optimization, a better plan, a collaborative plan. So that's what you're driving for, and that's what you hopefully will see. So sorry, I'm out of time. I'll wrap it up. So again, here's your three strategies, if it makes sense for you, is just roll with the pretty shiny stuff, as long as you have that end game in mind, you have that bigger plan in mind. And then go after the field. Really be strategic with the field. Find the meanest, baddest dude and get them on your side, because they are gonna just, they're gonna sing your praises and everyone's gonna come for you. And then I really like these mini studies, these super detailed, very realistic, kind of just-in-time mini studies. And so I think at this point, there's going to be a leadership opportunity that is presented to your VDC team or whoever's sort of leading your 40 efforts. There's going to be a leadership opportunity, and I say embrace it, right? Now you can get in those early planning meetings. You're going to become kind of that consultant. So be ready for it and embrace it and flourish. So final slide, so that sounds fantastic. Does it actually matter? So what we did, and of course there's a typo, I saw it last night. So we've been going through this series of processes, and we did a big study. It was a 3-year study. It was actually about 40 projects. We do a lot of projects, right? We do a handful of large-scale projects each year, but really we probably do 100, 150 normal-sized projects, 1 or 2 story office buildings, small apartment complexes, small manufacturing, small industrial. And so So we use Synchro on all of them, especially those mini studies kind of unlocks the smaller project potentials. Don't get kind of overwhelmed with when people are showing the mega projects. I'm telling you, it works on your commodity everyday type project. So anyway, we took about it was like a 40 project 3-year study where we took 40 of the Synchro enhanced projects compared to very comparable 40 non-Synchro projects from the past, or maybe that also happened in that year. And this got challenged a lot, and I had to give and take a lot because it was being challenged. But really, what we came down to was we were taking out 2 weeks of latency, 2 weeks of waste for every 6 months of construction. So does that make sense? So 2 weeks of waste for every 6 months of construction was kind of the metric that got agreed upon by lots of people. And so what that means to us, when I say that time matters, our finance department told me that if you could take a month out of a project, on average, if you could take a month out of a project that was just in loan carry and your general conditions was like $270,000 per project. So there's all kinds of other savings by pulling waste out. So this is the metric that really got vetted and proven out, and we go with for sure, or that, I mean, that's just kind of justifying the efforts and the efforts. So I went a little over it, but that's it.
Thank you. Next up, thank you, Michael. Next up is Gunnar.